Let's turn to some other stories making news today. And the oil giant BP has agreed to pay close to $25 billion, equivalent in Australian terms, to settle claims for economic damages suffered over the 2010 Gulf of Mexico oil spill. This money will go to state governments, local government areas and the US federal government. BP says that the payout brings the total cost of the explosion and oil spill from the Deepwater Horizon to more than $70 billion. It was the worst offshore oil spill in US history. Mike Clay with more.
A little more than 5 years ago, our state and our entire Gulf region woke up to a story that shocked our nation.
On the 20th of April 2010, an explosion on the Deepwater Horizon drilling rig in the Gulf of Mexico killed 11 workers. But a larger disaster was yet to unfold. On the ocean floor 1.5 kilometres down, the faulty well was spewing oil, around 40,000 barrels worth a day.
Already, this oil spill is the worst environmental disaster America has ever faced. The millions of gallons of oil that have spilled into the Gulf of Mexico are more like an epidemic, one that we will be fighting for months and even years.
Repeated attempts to cap the gushing well failed. As the three companies involved, BP, Halliburton and Transocean, all argued over who was at fault, the BP CEO got himself in strife for an offhand comment.
There's no one who wants this thing over more than I do. You know, I'd like my life back.
For 105 days, the world watched transfixed as authorities struggled to respond to the scale of the disaster. 3 million barrels of oil had spewed into the Gulf. Billions of dollars of damage was dealt to the region's economy, and perhaps irreparable damage done to the environment.
But make no mistake, we will make BP pay for the damage their company has caused.
Just 5 years later, a potential ecological and economic tsunami has been avoided.
Today, the US government and 5 states settled a multi-billion-dollar claim against BP.
So we're thrilled with the settlement. This is a landmark settlement.
The $25 billion deal is on top of the $57 billion that BP set aside for criminal and civil cases, as well as clean-up costs.
Had we litigated this, this is a rabbit hole. This is a black hole. We would have been in litigation for years.
The Exxon Valdez litigation is still going on, and that was more than a quarter of a century ago.
So is that the final chapter in the Deepwater Horizon disaster?